Before he made unusual decisions in WWE, which included making the company a PG family-friendly environment and giving the main event slots to part-timers and big sweaty men, Vince McMahon got extremely greedy one day with all of his power and actually believed he could conquer movies too. Lo and behold, WWE Studios has created some of the worst movies ever known to man, all just so they could get their wrestlers on the big screen, which happened only 15% of the time. While WWE Studios has created some pretty good films like The Marine starring John Cena and See No Evil starring Kane, they've also created some pretty bad films for pretty dumb reasons. Like Knucklehead, all just so the Big Show could be in a movie where they make fun of his size about 95% of the film. And while we're talking about percentages here, literally 70% of WWE Studios movies go straight to DVD and never get a chance to shine on the big screen, whereas the 30% that actually do make it onto the big screen are either in theaters for 1 to 2 weekends or shown in smaller, less-known venues. Because of the success that The Marine had, Vince actually thought that making more Marine movies would also have great success. That's why there are currently 5 Marine films that have been released, and still only the first film actually gained success. 5 films in, and WWE still doesn't realize that making so many unnecessary sequels aren't going to conquer the world of movies. What did they think they were, the Saw, Final Destination, and Friday the 13th franchise? While WWE Studios has a very bad low-rent reputation in the film industry, they have nonetheless managed to attract some big-name and credible actors to their projects, like Danny Glover, Patricia Clarkson, and Ed Harris. Good for them, but what did that do? I'll tell you what, it only gave those actors bad films on their resume. In most of the WWE films that involves action, criminals, and kidnapping, it's seemingly always the females that are getting kidnapped just so the males can be the heroes. Honestly, if they made it the other way around, maybe the films would actually gain more interest. Like, let's watch 12 Rounds, except that it's John Cena who's been kidnapped and his wife is the one who has to play the game and rescue him. Not saying that 12 Rounds was entirely bad, I'm just saying that it just got a lot more interesting. The first number of WWE Studios films involved the wrestlers in the starring roles. But then as time went on, WWE decided to abandon that full-time idea and went with making movies where the wrestlers are as easy to find as if they were in a Where's Waldo book. Seriously, blink and you'll miss Randy Orton, and that's what I am. I don't know if anyone noticed this, but WWE got their inspiration for 12 Rounds and basically copied the entire plot from Die Hard with a Vengeance. Seriously, watch that movie. See the hero go through dangerous tasks from the villain, who's out for revenge for the death of someone he cared for, and then the big reveal was the villain wanted to do a massive bank robbery the entire time. Lucky enough for us, Triple H managed to get into some WWE Studios films. First, he starred in The Chaperone, where his character gets out of prison, wants to live a nice life away from crime, reconnect with family and friends, but then his past comes back to haunt him. Then he starred in Inside Out, where his character gets out of prison, wants to live a nice life away from crime, reconnect with family and friends, but then his past comes back to haunt him. Wait a minute, he literally played the same role twice in 1 year? It's at that moment where WWE has run out of ideas for films and are somehow still doing this. Movies like The Marine, 12 Rounds, and The Condemned have so many explosions in them, I'm surprised that WWE somehow doesn't have Michael Bay producing them. Not saying that explosions are a bad thing in movies, I'm just saying that with the many explosions that you see in them, eventually someone is going to ask, did Michael Bay direct this film? It's honestly hard to believe that WWE Studios went from seeing Kane rip people's eyes out in gory fashions to seeing The Big Show with a case of diarrhea on a bus while also wrestling in his freaking underwear. Also, WWE went ahead and put The Big Show in a more serious movie role in Vendetta, released in 2015, likely as a way to make up for the complete disaster that is Knucklehead. But no matter what I've seen in Vendetta, the scars of Knucklehead will forever shine on Big Show in WWE Studios. In 2012, WWE Studios created a horror film called Barricade, which I guarantee nobody remembers at all, because it was hardly ever mentioned, and the fact that this was the first film created by WWE where no WWE wrestler actually stars in it. Does anybody even remember Barricade? Because I sure as hell don't, and I've seen it twice and don't remember what the hell even happened in that film. Eventually, WWE had partnered up with Warner Brothers and Sony and made crossovers with Scooby-Doo, Surf's Up, The Flintstones, and even The Jetsons. I can't really say that those films are completely bad because WWE was living in the world of animation where anything stupid can look normal. My point is, WWE Studios had to resort to joining with those animated franchises just so that even the kids will watch their films. And yet they still made a sequel to See No Evil immediately afterward. Whether anybody agrees with me or not, the only reason most people watch WWE Studios films is because they want to see the wrestlers act in movies instead of paying attention to the actual plot instead. This movie really sucks, but Randy Orton is running around Vancouver and beating people up, so it's awesome. That's literally 12 Rounds Reloaded for you guys. Since over 90% of WWE Studios films get heavily panned by critics and audiences while embarrassing themselves at the box office, no joke, that's what I am, only made a little over $6,000 in the box office. It boggles my mind that it hasn't shut down already. Is everybody still hanging on hope that WWE Studios will finally create the biggest blockbuster in movie history? Because I lost hope nearly 7 years ago. As part of the 250th episode of CinemaSins 2 Expansion, I thought I'd give myself a little revisit on sinning movies by sinning WWE Studios films. So I officially announced on this video that WWE Studios films will be sinned on my channel as part of the WWE Sins. This isn't a sin, just place the titles of the movies from WWE Studios that you'd like to see me sin.